Hey, everybody, and welcome to We've Got Issues. It is our joy to come to you once again with a hot topic from our friends text group. Those of us who've known each other for more than 40 years, we're always up to something in that group that leads us to want to just share it with you. And today is going to be no different. But before we drop into the topic for today, let us introduce ourselves because my name is Nick Cates. I'm here in LA. I've got my man Ron Evans back east in the DC DMV, Darren Gray, who's also an LA guy, but by virtue of Detroit, and of course, Ella Neely. How's everybody doing this week?
Good.
Good. Well, listen, as usual, we have one of us who's going to present a topic today. And so today we have the pleasure of hearing from Miss Ella Neely. Ella, tell us what your topic for the day is.
So greetings, everybody. Happy day.
Yes.
So I love the fact that I have three highly intelligent men that like to communicate and also that are married. And all three of you have different experiences with your marriage. I think Ron has been married for the longest time. He's, what was it, 20 something? Nick is on his second marriage, and Darren, I guess, married and then remarried, divorced and remarried, something like that.
Yeah.
And so it's important. One of the things that I want to make sure that I do is to help educate our young people. I know that I had friends who have watched our podcast and they're looking for advice, and you guys can give that advice. And so I have a question. So what are the four things women want from a man from your perspective? Each one of you guys, you can go around the room. Let's talk about this.
All right, Oprah.
Oprah. So, Darren, why don't you take it first? We'll go with Ron. Ron, you're the veteran of the married set. So, why don't you take that question?
And I just got to correct Ella. Been married 34 years.
Okay.
24 of them were good years. I'm kidding.
And that's real.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. What are the four things that a woman wants from a man? All right. So I wrote down what I think they are. Okay. So hopefully I got somewhat close. And in no particular order. The first one is safety and shelter. A man provides. Number two is love and caring. The man puts the wife at the center of his world and loves her and cares for her. The third one, which is probably the most important one, is common values. We have to see the world the same way. We have to agree on how many kids do we want to have? Are we going to raise our children in a religious environment? Are we going to go to church? What is our value on education, on travel? What are the values on spending money, on saving, on investing? Common values are critical. And then ultimately, the fourth one I had was common goals. We want to save for a house. We want to buy a car that costs this much. We want to take this vacation. That there is some either an agreement or a compromise that goes back and forth through the years that says these are goals that are not yours or mine. They're our goals, and we agree, and they are what the husband and wife want to accomplish for a benefit of both of them. So that would be my four.
Thank you.
Are you going to have questions about any of them before we move on to the next, or should we just go on to the next?
We're just going to the next.
Okay. All right, Darren, you would be the next longest married of the three of us. So why don't you go ahead and pick it up?
I agree with Ron on, I don't necessarily think shelter, but definitely safety. Safety would be number one. I'm thinking more along the Maslow hierarchy. Love, definitely. Being a priority, I think, would be a third one. And then attention being, that's different from being a priority, but actual attention, engaging, whether it's in conversation or interaction. Those would be the four that I would pick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And I pretty much don't have a whole lot to add to those. I think they covered more or less the gambit, but I'll throw in a couple. One is, and this is just in my experience, I think that women want a father figure in a certain way. I think the father role to a woman is a critical one. And whether it was a great experience or it was a bad experience, that father role, and I'm not saying that they want to be treated like a daughter, but I think that the father image in a woman's mind plays a very serious role in what she looks for in a husband. And it could be a very constructive way or it could be destructive. But I think that's important. And I also think, just to add to what's already been said, is that oftentimes, in my experience, women need to feel special, like almost, whether you want to call it a queen or a princess, or in some way feel like they're being elevated in terms of their, Darren mentioned the word priority or whatever, like that they are treated in a way that makes them feel somehow exclusive or elevated, and that they're not just run of the mill. That reinforcement that they are somehow, a gift and a prize and something to be pursued and continually, put in that position. So those are the two things that I will add to what Ron and Darren have already stated.
So let me reframe the question. What are the characteristics of a man that is important to a woman?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's different. I need a minute for that.
So what do women look for in a man, in other words?
Yes.
Like what male characteristics? Okay. Well, while you guys think, I'll just pop off so we at least have some place to go. I think, and I'm just going on my experience, I think that strength, and that could be both physical strength, but also emotional strength, I think is something that is prized. And oddly enough, in my experience, I think that women say that they want like empathy or someone who's emotionally in touch or whatever. I don't know that they really, really want that as much as they say they want it. I think that oftentimes women may feel that they are the emotional center of the situation, and it's a little bit more difficult because they're not really maybe used to men being in touch with their feelings, so to speak, and being able to communicate in a strong way what their needs are, what their thoughts are, be able to do that. But I think that that's something that they say they want, but I think it can be ambivalent for them. So I'll present those two things, and
So are you saying empathy? Are you saying empathy because you talk more about what they don't want it? So do they want empathy or not?
I guess what I'm saying is they say they want that, but I'm not sure that they really want it.
Okay.
I would say self-confidence, a bit of swag,
Mm-hmm.
that I think that's, the things that I have seen in my life in terms of, healthy relationships and even unhealthy relationship. The common thing is that self-confidence and swag. Even guys who don't work, who are, living off of women, they've got a bit of a swag about them, a little self-confidence. Mm-hmm. And even like, I remember, going to the parties over at the Ackerman Hall over at UCLA, and walking up, and having that swag to ask somebody to dance. If you walked up like you were going to get turned down, you were going to get turned down. But if you walked up like you was getting the dance, you would get the dance. And it's I've seen that is probably one of the most powerful tools, is that self-confidence, even if it's not deserved. It's just that appearance of being confident. I think that is something that is very attractive to women.
I think they call that big D energy. think that's what that's about.
I guess.
Ron, do you have anything?
Yeah, I think that I've got probably three things that I just wrote down. I think a woman is looking for, from a man, someone that is loving and caring, that says that they're important to him. I think that also implicit in that is that the man says that you are my equal, you are my partner. This is not a patriarchal relationship where go fix me some dinner and stay barefoot and pregnant. Treats the woman like they're a partner. It's a partnership. They're equal. And I do think that the other trait that has been since caveman times is that the man is going to be a provider that can, if things go south, I know that this guy can provide shelter. I may not need his money. I may have my own dang money, but I need to know he's not going to be leeching off me because he's sitting on the couch watching ESPN. So a provider.
How do all those guys get so many women though, right? I don't know if that's necessarily true. The guys who are not providers, who have 12 kids from different women and aren't working, I don't know if that's the case for some women, but I think overall, and even in terms of like the trad wives and the MAGA world, I don't know if they're necessarily looking for those same things of equality. So I don't know. They're looking for some man to take leadership. So I don't know if it's universal. I mean, we can find pockets, of course, but just generally, I think the things that are attractive are I don't know if those are attractive.
No, let me ask a follow-up question. So your thesis is built upon women that have multiple children from multiple men? That's the kind of your argument?
Guys who have multiple children from multiple women, for some reason, they seem to be able, even if they don't have jobs or they don't have the ability to take care, they seem to have some sort of attractive quality. And I don't know what it is. And I've got family members who are
big D energy, bro. It's that big D energy. Really?
So
real talk.
Darren, so we're going to talk about this a little later. But so what I like to do, I do a lot of reading, and I came across a book by A.R. Bernard, and it's the 4 things that women want from a man. And so Nick, excuse me, I have a clip that I want to show, and this is him talking about the book.
Before we run the clip, I just want to get in this because I don't know what this clip is going to say, but I want to have this for the record. And for the record, I don't think that it can easily be boiled down into what women want, because I think there's a lot of differences between women. Women are going through all kinds of stuff. Women have traumas, women have experiences and all that kind of stuff. So it is something that on the one hand, it can be general, but I think when you get down to the specifics of every individual woman, it may or may not be as clear cut. So that's all I'm going to say on that. And with that, I will roll the clip.
So are you saying that women are not all a monolith that think the same way?
That would have been a shorthand way of saying it. I wish you could have put your words in my mouth.
You don't get any profound points for that one, my friend.
I think that's with anything.
Okay. All right.
There's a good and bad for everything.
I just wanted to be on the record.
Okay.
They want.
Let me put this disclaimer out there because I think it's going to get real hot up in here, as it always does. If anybody's offended by this discussion today, I guess you're not a real man.
Ooh. Well, it's a book written to women, but for men.
Yes.
It's designed to give women a framework with which to make better choices in their relationship with men. And it's also designed to give men a standard with which to measure their own manhood.
So you're going to ruffle some feathers.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. It's truth. All truth is confrontational.
It is. But, why are so many men just missing these characteristics, these 4 characteristics: maturity, decisiveness, consistency, strength?
Wow, I'm just listening to you rattle them off like that. So you're
Oh, I
making
know
me
him
proud.
I know him by heart.
You know, men are not taught. We have a generation of not only fatherless men, but fatherless women. And, you know, especially in communities of color, we are in crisis, identity crisis, family crisis, and we're feeling the results of generations of problems within the family structure, within our community. So this book really.
All right.
Okay.
Mm.
So A.R. Bernard talked about 4 things: maturity, decisiveness, consistency, and strength. And I just want to kind of throw it out there and see what you guys feel about that. So as it relates to maturity, is that important? Do you want somebody who's mature, who has character, who has the characteristics of honesty, and it's such a character issue. So I'm just going to put it out there for you guys and see what you think about that.
But
Are you asking us if this is what we believe women want from us? Is that what you're saying?
Well, are these important? Are these 4 things important for people in their to have in order to have a constructive relationship? He said these 4 things. What do you think about them?
Hey, Ella, it was maturity, decisiveness, strength,
Consistency and strength.
consistency.
Yes, consistent.
Yeah. I think they're great. I don't see, I have no complaint with any of those things. Are they the only things they want? I don't think that you could boil it down to that. You know,
But
I think
we're not saying that they're the only things. We're just saying that these are characteristics of things that are important for a woman. Do you want,
he's saying, from what I gather, he's saying that these are the 4 things that you know make for a powerful, that women really want. If you have these 4 things, you can be a great partner to a woman. And I don't disagree with that, but I don't think it's as simple as that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're important, but some of the other things I think are, you know, that there are other things that are important. I don't know if those are the 4 most important. When I was married to my my first wife, we had a heated discussion about some of the characteristics that she wanted. And she's like, you know, I don't care about how much money you make. I don't care about how much you work. And my response was, if we were homeless, would you be saying the same thing? And she said, no. I said, so the fact that I provide, because she wasn't working, a place for us and our child, you would put that at a number 1 priority. And in order to do that, I have to work. And so there was this conversation about, in theory, yeah, having these other characteristics are great, but my primary role is to make sure we have a place to live and food on our table. And so those were the conversations where I was like, I don't live in a ideal world. I live in a more realist world. In fact, I think I met her at one of your parties. Ella, if I remember correctly, I think I met her at your party.
So you're saying that you were extremely mature because you understood the importance of providing for your family.
I don't know if it was maturity more so than growing up not having those things. You know what I mean? It was something that even in my younger days, I saw as being extraordinarily important, is, you know, shelter and food. And it really wasn't maturity. It was not having those things, or, you know, had an indelible impact on me.
I think, but that's a level of maturity. I mean, because we know people that are immature, that they don't take care of their business. And we know those that are mature and understand the value of providing for being a hunter, providing for your family and stuff. And I think that kind of falls in the characteristics of a mature person.
Yeah. I'd like to just say that those characteristics, could you just enumerate them one more time?
Maturity,
Uh-huh.
decisiveness,
Uh-huh.
consistency, and strength.
Okay. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn or be whatever, but I know that in my adult mating life, right?
Were you a thousandaire at the time?
I've never been on Ella's level But I would say that those were the kinds of facets of my personality that I led with. That were it's not like I was always trying to be. I wasn't the richest nor the poorest. I wasn't the swaggiest nor the least swaggy guy. But those kinds of things I felt like I had on lock, and I have on lock. And those things are incredibly attractive initially, and they get you
in the door
a long way. It gets you a long way.
Yeah.
But if you focus on just those things, they won't take you home.
Nope.
They won't. In my view, I think that in my parents' generation, if you had those things, you were good. You were good. You didn't have to have a whole lot of other stuff. If you had the consistency and the decisiveness and the strength and those things, in my parents' generation, you were good, because they were concerned with those things. They were trying to come up out of like a situation where there was so much,
racism.
Yeah, we need some solidity to it. But now you've got people who they want all the other trapments. So if you're able to wake up in dawn, put food on the table, be decisive, make all the right decisions, that's great. But that ain't gonna get you, that's not going to be the 30-year relationship, 40-year relationship, because I think that women just want additional things, at least equally to those foundational things. That's my opinion.
And it's rare when I agree with Darren on a point, but I do agree. And Nick, I think you did a good summary of it. I think as I look at these 4 traits, I do think they have value. I think, Ella, you said it gets you in the door, and I do agree with that. But the number one reason for divorce are money problems. And you need to have some money so you're not arguing about paying the light bill or the mortgage or putting food on the table. And this swaggy man you married doesn't look so, sophisticated when you're broke. And he's talking about, I can't find a job. So I think that it gets you in the door, but to have a long-term relationship, a man has to provide. And again, Ella, you're a great example. I'm not saying he has to say, Ella, stop working, but you need to know that he's your equal or better in terms of income, that, okay, this guy's taking care of business just like I am. Because when times get hard, it's going to be like, I don't care about your strength or your decisiveness. I need you to go find a job. And money is the number one cause for divorce.
But strength is being able to, like in our society right now, women far exceed men as far as wealth is concerned, as far as education and all those things. And so how do women, if the man is not strong within himself, then it's hard for him to have a relationship. So in order for you guys to be a strong partner, you have to feel good about who you are. And you have to be able to communicate, but you have to feel good about yourself so it doesn't really matter what's going on with her. You have to feel good about yourself. And she needs that strength. She needs a man that feels good and is not intimidated by who she is and what she does.
Women need a lot of things, Ella. Women need a lot of things. And
I'm one of them, and I know. And so, I mean, you can't even understand how much I know, because I'm not married. And one of the reasons is because I have not met a partner who I feel is my equal, or who is better, who has the strength to be able to deal with my ambition, to be able to give me what I need and not feel intimidated about where they are. They might not have exactly what I have, but they're looking at me and then making a judgment call about who they are. I need somebody that will, when they say, oh, I'm going to do something, that they do it, that they're consistent in what they do, that, I'll be there at 8:00. It's not 9:00. It's not 10:00, or, I'll cook dinner on Tuesday, and there's no consistency in their efforts. I mean, these little things make a difference. You want somebody who's mature, who you can sit down and have a conversation with. You can talk about what's going on, and they can be empathetic, but they have to have the ability to have the strength and the maturity to sit down and talk about the financial situation, where you don't have to bring it up, that they know that that's there, that it's a community thing, and you guys sit and talk about it. And consistency, and decisiveness. I mean, how many, you guys probably hate that woman that kind of goes, oh yeah, I want this, oh no, tomorrow it's that. No, you want somebody who can make a decision and move forward and get it done. It might not be the best decision, or it might turn out bad, but at least you made a decision. And it's not going on for months. Oh yeah, I want to put this room addition. And I got a friend, for the last 20 years, he's been calling, talking about some room addition. Like, are you going to do it, or you're not going to do it? So there's a lot of components to everything, but the foundation is very important. And I just think that these are values that it's important for us to give to this lower generation that's listening to this, because these are things that are important.
All right, I'm going to throw a little bit of a monkey wrench in there. Our president has 3 of those 4 characteristics. Strength.
Let's not talk about it.
No. I'm just saying, when you look at those characteristics.
But that could go for anybody. Let's talk about the positive side of it. I mean, you always want to throw a monkey wrench.
Let's hear them out.
Is those characteristics alone without character are not enough.
Character matters.
Character has to be there, because those, you can have those qualities and be a terrible person. I think character has to be in there as well, because you can be decisive, strong, mature, and what was the other one? Mature and consistently bad. So I think on top of all that, you have to throw in character.
Well, but character is a part of the maturity. That's, there's a lot
Those
of
are all foundational elements of character. All
yeah,
those
exactly.
We're talking about the foundational of the character, and
Exactly.
and some other things. I mean, Ella, I don't think that you will get much pushback from any of us about those things, right? So is your point here trying to illuminate how important those things are?
Yes, because we have a generation of people that are watching us that need to understand what the importance of these things are. That they might not have a father or a man figure to tell them this. And men need men, boys need men to show them how to be better people. And so I'm just trying to illuminate. If I have a platform, it would be to bring these things up so people think, oh, okay, these are things that I need to improve upon, or these are things that are important to a woman. That's what I'm trying to do here.
And in going that line, my parents were divorced when I was 3, so I didn't have a dad in my home. And what my mom told me was the best piece of advice that I value to this day. She told me to take the best characteristics of every man I come across, living or dead, real or fictional, and stitch together my own role model. So there are elements of every man that I've come across that I can take that, because I didn't have a dad in the home, to be my role model.
Yeah.
So I would add a variation of that. I agree with what your mom told you, but there's a phrase by Stephen Covey that I always share with my girls and at work as well. And that is, no one is a complete loss, because they can always serve as a bad example to others. And sometimes, you got to look at, okay, this is a great example, and here's some examples of things I don't want to do.
Yeah.
And to your point, and then you stitch it together, and that's how you hopefully will live your life.
Yeah.
Ella, you said, I think it was you who said, we come from a generation of men who grew up without fathers, or and women who grew up without fathers and stuff like that.
That was on the clip. That was just on the clip.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
So I think that the biggest remedy for women to get the kind of men that they want is to forget about men. Because I think that the biggest problem for women is that men don't have to choose. Men can get women whatever stage of disrepair their character, their economics, or whatever are. There are women who are willing to lower their standards, or maybe they have no standards, and they're willing to engage with these men and the men don't have to commit. And the biggest problem for women is not can they get a man? It's can they get a man who's willing to commit, one, and B, who's worthy of being committed to, right? And so the biggest problem is that, and particularly in our social media age, in our TikTok age, in our whatever age, men do not feel compelled to rise to a different level, one, and B, if they are, particularly if they have risen to a high level, they really don't feel the need to commit because they can have as many women as they want for as long as they want until they have to or need to or to just decide to commit. So what's the remedy for that? Is that women have to basically I think it's in Shakespeare. One of Shakespeare's plays is about that the women decided that they're not going to have sexual relationships with men or relations with men until they stop going to war.
Merchant of Venice.
It's not the Merchant of Venice. It's I don't know. It's the name of one of the things, and it's a person's name. But anyway, the point is, they withdrew from men completely until men got right, and when men got right, then they were willing to re-engage with them. And so I think that's the bigger issue for men because nobody. It's like the old political statement that power concedes nothing without a demand, right? So from a relationship aspect, men are not going to be compelled to raise their game until there's a demand put upon them. That's my.
And that's a sad state of affairs.
Yeah, Nick, that's a little harsh, man.
Really, really. Hey, where am I wrong? Show me where I'm wrong.
No, well, but I believe you.
No, I don't.
I subscribe to it. I mean, my life is great. And I mean, would I love to have a partner? Yes, but there's just elements that have to be there. And I've had enough relationships where at the end of it, I just wasted 2 years of my life. What do I have to show for it? And so now I'm just doing me. And I have a long list of goals and all that kind of thing. And if Mr. Wrong comes, because I've already had Mr. Right, you guys don't get that. My daughter's father's last name is Right. But I mean, it's like, you figure it out some other way. You have close relationships or, friendships with women or, kind of groups that you go to to support you. But men are missing the mark. I mean, they're just not rising to the level. Mm-hmm. And it's sad. And just like you said, they don't have to. But so how can we move forward if men don't rise up and be the best that they can be?
Well, I think that, and I don't want to monopolize, but this is a subject that's near and dear to my heart, right? And I feel like, yes, men have to be in community with other men who are about something, right? Like, because that's certainly a motivating factor. And to clarify what I said before, I don't think women need to not have interest in men. I don't think women need to not be available to men. I just think that the standard needs to never be brought down, right? So it's like, hey, I'm available, but if your resume, and I'm not being specific, I'm being literal about resume, but if what you're bringing to the table is obviously not there, then hey, there's not much to talk about. If you've got 3 out of 4 is not good enough. You got to have 4 out of 4, and you know what? If you're working on that 4th one, you get back to me when you got that 4th one, because I think you're a great guy, but I need 4 out of 4, because you know what? If what you're telling me that I've got your 4 out of 4, then you should have my 4 out of 4. And then let's build something together. Because believe me, in this day and age, it's going to take that. You can't have a weak link. The chain has to be strong all the way around.
Nick, I mean, I can't let you talk to my daughters and give advice to them. It's depressing. Because what you're saying is, what my interpretation of what you're saying is, men by our nature do not want a monogamous relationship. You are saying that.
I am saying that is something that has to be overcome, Ron. Maybe you may be no, I know your history. I know your history. So yeah. So let me get out of there. I don't know what I was going to say. But, yes, I do know your history. So at a certain point, you had to make a decision. You decided that this was the one. I'm all in. Is that right?
This is the problem having friends that know me before I got married.
Right. I know it's been 34 years, but I remember 40 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. This is the problem. No, right. I mean, you gotta pick a lot of fruit before you buy that one good apple.
And for all those who had you along the way, you weren't Mr. Right. So that's what Nick is saying.
Okay, but just to keep it 100%. Of that set, there was only a very small subset that I brought home to mom.
Yeah, but that may be true for you, but for them, it may have been a world of difference. They may have seen you as the right one, but you didn't value them in the reverse. Yeah. And that's what Nick is saying, is that you got to check all the boxes. And you were fortunate, and you found an amazing wife who you checked each other's boxes. And one of the cool things about you and your wife is we've known you all for a long time. And we've seen what that looks like. And that's rare, because you all share the same friends, and that's not always the case. And so we've gotten a chance to know you and your wife separately and as individuals. And so I agree with Nick, is that, dudes are dudes, and you have to find the right one.
Okay, wait. But that's not what he said. Nick is saying that we do not want to be monogamous. I'm saying you'll be monogamous if you find the right one. So you're not agreeing with Nick.
Well, I'm agreeing in that is really hard for a lot of men to find the right one.
Wait, we did watch him get married, didn't we? I know I was there, Darren. I was there when he got married, so
and he found the right one. But what I'm saying
I don't understand what your complaint is with this, because your living experience, all of our living experience is the same. Like, until you came across the one for whom you were willing to say, I will shut my eyes to all others.
But that's with anybody. But I think that more importantly, men aren't mature enough. They're not even setting themselves up to be in a relationship. Right. I mean, my daughter will tell you, she's online, and there's people out there that don't have jobs. Like, how are you going to date somebody if you don't have a job? And we're not talking about education or anything. We're talking about, and that's because there's a lot of subset of women out there that will take care of these men. And so that's the part that I'm taking from Nick. It's like, you got to have a standard. You got to, there's certain things that you have to have. And if you're not even trying to rise to having a job, if what you want to do is sit on some woman's couch, then we don't need men. I mean, that's the way that I'm taking it. It's like, walk away from that. And then when that man elevates himself to at least just have a job, then see him.
I'm sorry. I'm still struggling with, I'm on a dating app and my occupation is unemployed. I can't even go Dutch with you. I need you to pay.
Yeah, you've been married too long, Ryan. I mean, these are real world issues.
This is real.
It's like
this is real.
Listen, my wife has a lot of single friends too, and I hear the stories, and I know, I know what's going on out there in these streets, man. It's and I've got friends that are still single, or who have been married or whatever, and I've been in that situation, So, getting back to Ella's point though, and the point I was trying to make is that's a two-way street. I think both men and women are broken in many ways. Mm-hmm. And the biggest, Ron, you mentioned that finance is the number one reason why couples get divorced. In my experience too, in addition to that, it is unmet or unstated expectations that were not met. because I think that sometimes in a relationship, whether you're married or not, people have expectations of their partner, and it's particularly bad when those expectations are not clearly stated, but there's a resentment that grows up. So let's say, for example, the man in the relationship is unemployed, right? And the woman's willing to, to basically carry the weight for a period of time. But she's taking it like a champ or whatever. But her expectation is that guy's gonna get, a job at a certain point. And when that doesn't happen, the resentment grows to a certain point, and at which time she says, listen, I can't be with you anymore. But it could be on any level of thing. It could be that you don't listen to me, or you make, like, every time I'm trying to tell you how I feel, you dismiss me, right? And because maybe the other three elements of the relationship are intact, but that fourth element where you don't have any real empathy for me, you're not really there for me. And at a certain point, that breaks down and the relationship, ends. So you got to have it all. And here's my last thing, because I could go on and on about this. This is something that I have deep feelings about. The other thing that's important that men and I think women need to understand too is that it don't stop. You never get to a point where you're a finished product. No. You are always continuing to evolve, get better. And you need to be with somebody with whom you can do that.
Yes.
They need to be able to be a safe place for you to grow. They need to be able to critique you in a way that you can hear, and they need to allow you to fail in a way that you can come back, and that's truly important.
And if you ever think you're a finished product, just ask your wife.
right. But she's got to be that way too. She's got to be willing to continue to evolve too.
100%. Yeah.
So, was that helpful, Ella?
Well, I mean, of course it is. I mean, it's interesting to hear your perspective. But like I'm trying to educate, and so there's men out there who, I was just talking to a young cousin of mine, 25, and he said, yeah, I can go back and live with my mother. And I was like, you don't have an ambition to have a family and, take care of somebody? She wants me there. I was like, and that's the scary part of where we are in relationships and society right now. It's like the men are not stepping up and taking care of business, and the women are just running. I mean, because as a woman, if you got kids, you're just trying to live. You got to take care of yourself. And like the man could or could not, or they don't necessarily have to take care of their kids. And so they kind of, do what they're going to do, but women have to do it. And they're just rising to the occasion. And they're leaving these men behind.
Well, I think in the video, when he talked about generations of fatherless men and women, I think that plays a key part of it, because, if you don't have a father figure, it is definitely harder. Like, my parents were divorced. I didn't really have my dad around, so I had to figure it out. And, the best role model that I had was our friend who I lived with, because I didn't have any other male role model. So even though we were the same age when we became, roommates, that became a role model for me, because I had no clue as to how to be a man, because I didn't have a blueprint. So I was like, I'll just do what he does, because he seems to have it together. So, for men who don't have other men to sharpen them, or who don't have father figure, it is really hard for them to be that father, that husband, that boyfriend, because they don't have it. Whenever I'm around the buddies, I never have to worry about getting the big head, because I got, 8 guys that'll come out reminding me of who I am, and will clown me, who I was, and will clown me if I get out of line.
But what's important about that too is that because the man is not around, the woman, the mother, is trying to teach the son, and women can't teach boys.
Preach.
Men have to do that. Yep. And so you have this situation where all of these women are coddling these kids, and at the end of the day, these people don't know how to be a man. Yeah. And that's so important. It's so important on every level right now.
So we talked about that in our house, because I felt that there was a period where having daughters that it wasn't equal parenting, or my voice wasn't as important as my wife's. And one day she said, look, you can dote over them or whatever, but it is a woman's job to teach a girl how to be a young woman, and especially a Black woman. So a man cannot teach a girl how to be a woman. We can do the best we can.
Exactly.
Corollary to your point, Ella, a woman, you can do a great job, no doubt about it, but you can't teach a young boy to be a man unless you're a man. Because at some point, and I've seen an example of this, where there's some point where the mother wants to say, oh, that's fine. And the dad wants to sock him in the chest.
Exactly.
Because he understands that if you go out in the world with that attitude, someone else is going to sock you in the chest.
And I just also want to say, I raised my daughter as a single parent, and she now has a wonderful relationship with her father. And it was like, I did the mothering thing, but now she gets the father side of it. And like, they go out on dates, they do stuff, and she'll say, he's the best date I've ever had. Wow. And that's so important, because he is teaching her what a man is supposed to do in a relationship. And so now her bar is so high. I mean, because they do all these things together, and that's important for girls. And the fact is, they don't have that. They don't have it. And it's important that we teach them these things.
Right.
So I'm all about education right now.
About the father figure being key for a woman. It can either be a positive marker or a negative marker.
Yes.
So Ella, I'm very curious about your dating journey, but your daughter specifically seems to have played the game correctly in terms of being in a social strata with similar education, similar ambition, sorority, so Divine Nine. So she has access to so many eligible men, but she's still on dating apps.
That's how it's done.
So let me just say this. So this was an evolution. I mean, I remember when she was in Maryland, and this guy she was dating, he didn't have education. He had, a basic job. He smoked cigarettes. And I was like, do you have a standard? I mean, and so there's only so much you can say, because then they become really defensive, and then they start doing stuff that they do stuff in spite of you. And so I would just kind of put stuff out there, maybe do this or da-da-da. And so after each relationship, then it was like the standard was growing, because people date based upon their self-esteem. And so you might think that, oh yeah, this person has access to this, but it's how you feel about yourself. And that's why it's so important the better you feel about yourself, then that's the level that you want the person to be. So now she's on cloud 9, and you can't touch her because, she has a master's degree. She's in this, she's in that, she does. And so you gotta step up, and there's not many people who are on that level. And so, but dating apps are where you see the masses of people. I mean, if it's not in your environment, you might think LA is big and has a lot of Black people, but it doesn't. But on dating apps, they do. Now, my issue with her is the quality of dating apps you're looking on. Because if they're free, then you're getting the bottom of the barrel. You're getting what everybody can sign up for. You need to pay. I mean, so you know what I mean? It's like you need to pay in order to get, because
you need to weed some people out.
You got to weed them out. You got to weed a lot of them out. And so,
there's this comedian. She said that I try to go to the airport and find me a man that has TSA pre because he's passed a background check, doesn't have a criminal record.
That's not a bad, it's a dating app around that. That's not a bad idea.
Oh no, that sounds like $1 million idea. Wow. Called TSA pre-dating app. I like that.
That's funny. That's funny.
That's good.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna work on that app,
There you
Ron.
go.
Do that, man.
I
Do
might
that.
be able to get Ella status with that dating app. I will write that app.
The world needs it, bro. The world needs it. So, Ella, hopefully we have, given you some perspectives that you and others who are listening can use. This is probably a topic as old as time, but never more urgent than it is today. So we hope that if you guys have feedback or thoughts or insights that could be helpful to others who are listening, we'd love to hear your comments. We always love it when you like and share this with other people that you know, and certainly subscribe to We've Got Issues. We're really, really excited about the stuff that we're talking about, and we hope you will too. So before we end things up, obviously, Ella, I'm sure you have a great parting shot for us today.
So, I do a lot of reading and stuff, and we just finished this book, Erased. I don't know if you can see, it's probably backwards.
Yeah, we saw
but
it.
it's okay. It's by Anna Malaika Tubbs, and basically it's what American patriarchy has hidden from us. And this is a great read because it talks about patriarchy in our society and understanding that it started from our founders with the Constitution and how it affects us on a daily life. And so I'm putting this out there that this is a young woman who's 40, graduated from Stanford, and she's out there doing the thing, talking about patriot. She's educating people, and it's important for us to read these books and support our own. Okay.
Ella's book club, man. Ella's book club.
Hey.
And actually, she was at our book club meeting a month ago, and it was just phenomenal. I mean, she's a really great speaker, and you could Google her, but she also wrote another book, and it was The Three Mothers. And basically, this is how the mothers of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and James Baldwin shaped a nation. And she said when she did the research for this, there was limited information. Like, about all of these men, but there was limited or no information about their mothers. And so she she basically wrote a book about them, and it's incredible. So this is another book that you can get from her. And that's what I'm going to close with today.
I like that.
Put those in the show notes, Nick.
Yes. Those are immediately going on my reading list. That's good stuff. Good stuff. And and you guys, check it out. Ella is our resident reader of the group, so if it comes highly recommended from her, it's something you might want to pay attention to.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. So it's good stuff, Ella. Really appreciate it. And as always, guys, enjoy chopping it up with you. So until next time, we'll call it a day here. And you guys, thanks for joining us. And we'll see you all next time on We've Got Issues. See you later.
Bye.